Charles Hoskinson, the founder of ADA, said, "We're about to witness the most significant milestone in the history of Cardano and for the industry as a whole." Of course, we're talking about the Cardano Changhard fork that is about to launch, and we're going to cover what exactly is the Changhard fork, a gigantic sell wall that we must overcome before Cardano can have a bullish period. And then I got three things in the charts that I got to show you, and the last thing is the most bullish of them all. But yeah, Charles Hoskinson tweeting about this, and Cardano is about to be a decentralized civilization spanning the entire world with millions of residents. The Changhard fork is launching next week, everybody. And so far, it is set to launch on the 16th of July. And we're going to see the co-founder step down from a lot of the governance when it comes to Cardano. So after weeks of speculation, he has officially announced the launch of the hard fork here. According to the Cardano team, the Changhard fork will be critical in transforming Cardano's governance through a constitutional order comprising on-chain voting and democratic rights, everybody. So what exactly do they mean by this? You mean Cardano's going democratic? I mean, does it have like a booth that I can, vote in? Well, kind of. The Changhard fork's main goal is to introduce community-centered governance. The use of community-run governments hopes to achieve complete decentralization for the Cardano blockchain. Therefore, the approach will be to incorporate on-chain voting, ensuring a transparent and verifiable decision-making process. If just to basically simply put, this is where the community will vote for the budget and other activities. So the Cardano power is going from these elite institutions, Emergo, IOG, Cardano Foundation, and now going to the people, is now going to you. So you can vote with your Cardano through your SPOs on what direction Cardano is going to be heading. This is massive, massive news for people that care about decentralization. And if you recall, last time Cardano got a major upgrade, it was the introduction of smart contracts in September of 2021. And that's the last time we saw the massive pump for Cardano, where Cardano basically went from 20 cents all the way up to $3, with including a very, very quick run from $1 to $3. But the next thing I said there's a massive sell wall that we got to overcome. We're going to say the exact levels this thing begins, because this is going to be a lot of pressure against Cardano's pump. Now, ideally, the price could jump to 40 cents. And if we look right now, Cardano, really, really close to that, 38 and about basically in a half cents here. We look at the max, a lot of movement to the upside. We got a lot of room to the upside here. But back to the sell wall here. If the mild positive sentiment is sustained, that's how we can jump to 40 cents. However, growing beyond this level is where you got to start worried. After 40 cents is where it starts to get very, very scary, everybody. Into the block data is showing 4.8 billion ADA. That's a lot of ADA right there. Might trigger a massive resistance around the price range 41.97 cents to 47.92 cents. So 41.97. Well, everybody, found something pretty interesting around that level. If we zoom in on the daily here, you can see, we've been kind of in just a sustained downtrend. But if you look over here at the wick, look at that. That is to the thousandth, basically, of a dollar here, 41.91 cents. If we zoom in, it actually gets even a little bit closer there. So this is where the sell wall is going to begin. You can kind of see, we traded around in a little bit of a sideways channel here for a good number of days. You can see, kind of going all the way back to around April, then just kind of traded around up and down in this range, then eventually broke to the downside, sticking to this parallel channel that we see heading to the downside. So interestingly enough, you can see exactly where that sell wall begins, just coinciding exactly where that wick is on the daily. Now, I said there's three things I wanted to show you, because it's not all doom and gloom, everybody. We're going to cover the three things in the charts. But first, we have 432,000 addresses that might have sell orders within this range. So this is going to be a huge, huge, intense strain on Cardano's rally. In the push to regain its 52-week high, there's going to be other resistance levels that we got to look out for. And we're going to start looking at these now. Now, first, some good news. All right, you deserve some good news. We got the Changhard fork. We are in this downtrend, but it looks like we potentially are going to be breaking out of this trend here. Last time we were in a just sustained downward trend, finally broke out after a while, and we had a massive pump to the upside. You see from the breakout, we had an 85% pump over 100 days, but a very, very quick 65% pump in just 1 month. So Cardano can melt a face just out of nowhere. If we were to get a 65% pump from the breakout in just 1 month, you're looking at a very, very healthy 60-cent Cardano. So, I would expect, maybe some resistance before that, though, around 50 cents. So bullish news here is we are in a bull div. And if you're wondering what a bull div is, a bullish divergence is when the price is heading down as the RSI is heading up. So last time we saw this, we had a pretty good rally. Now this one, not as sharp, but it was drawn out over a longer period of time. We had a massive pump that time as well. If we just measure that one, it took a little bit longer. But over 56 days, we had a 182% pump. So last time we had a good RSI bull div, we had a really good pump. We're seeing a massive RSI bull div as we speak. Number two thing I want to show you in the charts, and I want to give a big shout out to Chris O for pointing this out to me, is we are not oversold on the large time frames. If you look at the large time frames and you focus on the RSI here, you can see last cycle extremely oversold on the 2-week chart. In fact, we see the same thing on the monthly chart as well. So we go to the 1 month. We are nowhere near the levels of oversold on the larger time frames. And so to me, this is a giant signal that Cardano is not overcooked. If we go to the 2-week, you can see that we briefly touched it shortly after the halving. Well, we are a little bit ahead of schedule. We briefly touched it slightly before the halving. After that is when Cardano had its massive move there. It went all the way from 6 cents, everybody, to $3. That's a 4,700% pump. Okay, we're talking about almost 5,000% pumps. I don't think we're going to have a 50x with Cardano, but I do think a 10x is definitely in the cards there. Now, the other thing I want to show you is going to also be related to the Bitcoin halving. You're going to see 2 vertical lines here. Now, the first vertical line is going to be the halving of 2020, and then the blue line you're seeing right here is just the recent halving we had April 19th. The last halving, and I want to give a big shout out to Dan, Crypto Capital Venture, the last halving, Cardano was boring for hundreds of days. If we measure right here, it was around 220. So you can see 220 days, and then Cardano experienced its breakout. So after the halving, Cardano was boring forever. 7-8 months. If we look right now, we are nowhere near that period. This is April 19th. We're only 86, not even days past the halving. 200 days is still a ways away. We're talking about an October, November pump for Cardano there. So plenty of time, be patient. If you're expecting a pump in July, you're expecting a pump just a couple months after the halving, history has shown us that is not when it happens. It happens, several months after the fact there. So we're not quite at the point where Cardano is ready for a rally. And in fact, if we look at Cardano Bitcoin, we're also seeing, bullish stuff with some bull divs right there. Also, you could kind of see it with the halving as well. If we go ahead and light up the halving created a nice little pump that we saw. Then it went back down, and then we had the real good pump after the Bitcoin halving. That one was, again, about 200 some odd days, about 238 days. Now, our halving was on April 19th, and if we move this to April 19th, we still got plenty of time. Looking at the Cardano Bitcoin chart, the pump might start happening in December of this year. So, just be patient. Now is not the time to, exit because you're feeling bearish right now. If you look at the charts, if you look at the bull divergences happening on Bitcoin, happening on USDT, looking at the RSI that's not even overbought, and realizing it took 200 plus days for us to break out, now is a good time to just remain calm. In fact, maybe even add to your portfolio, because I do think Cardano is going to have a massive breakout this year. If not Q1 2025, that's when we start seeing really, really bullish action for Cardano. So I'm predicting we're not going to start pumping till October, November, potentially December. So Q4, Q1 next year, that's when Cardano is looking to melt some faces. And hopefully I'll see you in your diamond-handed Cardano bags at the top.